In this question, we have to look at a claim of a manufacturer. This claim is a proportion or a percentage. This question is a little confusing because the 5% claim here is similar to the confidence because they're both percentages. So we need to be a little bit careful about not confusing the two. So they claim 5% of the phones break before the warranty expires. And there's a website that ran some samples and they did a lot of samples. So here is our proportion that we got in the experiment. So it's 94 out of 1536. And that's the first proportion right here. So 94 of 1536. And this number, so more than 5% of the phones broke before the warranty expired. It's 6.1% or 0.061. So it's not a lot higher than 5%, but it is a little higher. What we're going to do is construct a confidence interval with 99% confidence. So I have the formulas here from the formula page. So our confidence is 99 or 0.99. Now we do have to average this with 100%, which is 1 or 1.0. So we're averaging 1 with this 99%. And it's basically taking us halfway to 100%. So it's 0.995. So this is the actual confidence we're going to use when we compute the z-score. So let's go ahead and do that now. So our z-score is norm inverse probability. Now you have to be careful here. This probability is not the confidence. Score. Oh, never mind. I used the wrong function. Norm s dot. I need to read norm s dot inverse. There we go. This only takes the probability. That is this confidence right here. And I did write confidence in the notes. So a lot of times you can read what's in the Excel help. But in this case, we're going to use the confidence. So ignore that probability. We're using this confidence here. But again, it's written confidence in the notes. So there we go, 2.57. And let's compute Q now. Q is the opposite or complementary proportion. So it's the original P, but just 1 minus that P. Remember, if you add those two together, you'll always get 1. So ready to run this error bound measurement right here. And it's going to be the z-score we just got. So it's that z times square root parenthesis. Now we do P times Q divided by N. So P is our first, Q is our second, divided by, now N is not a value I typed it in earlier, but N is the number of things, which is 1536. So that number goes here. I could have written N as another cell, but I didn't do it, so I'm just typing the number in. Here is what we add to the experimental proportion P. So this number here. So we have a low, which is our p-value minus the error bound. And our high is going to be the same thing except plus. If I could spell, it's this one right here, P plus EBM. P plus EBM. All right, so that's the low and the high right there. So what this says is if your experimental proportion is between these two numbers, that's reasonable with a 99% confidence. So the question is, our failure rate that we saw was 0.061. What the claim is that the actual rate is 5%. Now, the question is 5% in between these two values? Oops. In between these two values. It is. It's a little closer to the low value, but it is between these two values. So let's go ahead and answer. I'll just type in these. They do want to round to 1 decimal place. And they are expecting percentages here. So keep that in mind. I'll turn these into percentages. Equals 100 times this value. And we'll duplicate that down. So again, it's just 100 times that value we got because the question wants percentage. So round to 1 decimal place is 4.5. And round the next 1 to 1 decimal is 7.7. So we'll hit submit on those. Okay, last part. What should we conclude? Is 5% reasonable? Meaning is 5% between the low and the high value? It definitely is. It's again, close to the low value, but it is between the low and the high value. So, does not dispute. All right, so it does not dispute the claim, but the reason it does not dispute the claim is because 5% is a value in the interval. So confidence interval disputes the claim, so it does not dispute the claim because 5% is a value inside the interval. So there we go. So 5% is reasonable because it is between the low and the high value that we computed, which means that 5% is not disputed.